Pamela, if you could talk about your plan, but as you do, I'd like you to address Tom Reeder from the Senate Finance Committee's question about whether you think there's tax efficiencies in your plan while you're discussing it, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. But I figured Tom would if I didn't.
Good morning, everyone. Could we have the slide?
Oh, who is doing the slides?
It's not up on the screen? No. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
All right, I'll do a few more words. Our plan is called the Super Simple, and I'd like to start out by talking about the problem that Jean and I are trying to solve. We aren't trying to design the perfect plan, and we recognize that large employers today already provide good plans and will continue to do so, and we're not worried about those workers. So we're really not interested in rearranging the deck chairs on the Queen Mary. What we are trying to do is to get an upgrade for those workers in steerage, those without much in the way of employer support, and to get more workers, those whose employers don't provide a plan, aboard the good ship Adequate Retirement Income. Further, we don't expect that low, moderate, and even some middle-income workers, even with auto-enrollment and auto-escalation techniques, to be able to save their way to adequate retirement income all on their own. That's not realistic, and that's not fair. So this means, in our opinion, finding a way to make it easier and more desirable for employers to enlist in the private pension system and to increase government support. In designing this plan, we focus primarily on getting a higher level of contributions into plan solution for low and moderate income workers, and that's what we really care about. Our paper describes how we were influenced by the new British nest system, and I'm beginning to think that these cross-country comparisons are really projective personality tests. But Jean and I like the British system. We also like the efforts in this country led by Mark Every back in the 1990s to create simple plans for small employers. Our plan is, in format, a defined contribution plan, but there are some hybrid plans that fall within the Super Simple model. As I said, our plan is called the Super Simple, and it's intended to be the basic saving plan in the U.S. I like to think of it as a potential Pac-Man for the cluttered 401k system that we now have. It's an employee-centric plan, and it uses a raise-the-floor design in which all workers are guaranteed a minimum contribution. Employers can still have today's 401k standard plan with all of its testing requirements and design choices, but all other 401k type plans become the Super Simple. Over time, the contribution limits for the Super Simple increase much more than for the standard plan, as an incentive for employers to switch. And we think that many plans today could already satisfy the requirements for a Super Simple. The plan is available to all employers, but it is not mandatory. What is mandatory is that all workers, except for very short-term employees, are automatically covered and enrolled. And by virtue of that rule, there are no testing requirements for participation. From a contribution perspective, our plan makes government, workers, and employers partners in building more assets for retirement. First, for workers, it includes an opt-out contribution through automatic enrollment, beginning basically at 4% of pay, rising to 8% gradually over time, up to a maximum of 10%. And workers, of course, could choose to save more or less as they see fit. Second, as in the UK and in today's simple plans, employers are required to contribute, either through matching contributions or across-the-board contributions. We suggest an initial 3% of pay contribution or any matching contribution that achieves the same end. This contribution is fully vested and uniform. Now, we do realize that many employers, particularly small ones, will be resistant to contributing. So we include two important incentives. First, the Super Simple with almost no choices and a uniform employer contribution requires no testing or expensive compliance consultants. Dollars from a benefits budget that today go to the compliance industry can now go into workers' accounts. Second, and this will probably horrify many of you in the room, we propose to raise the ceiling on contributions by highly paid workers. Because we have a raise the floor design that gives all workers a good basic employer contribution, we eliminate the rules that tie what higher paid workers can contribute to what lower paid workers do. In the super simple, all workers can contribute as much as they like up to the 415C maximum minus any employer contribution. This means that management in 2012 could individually contribute up to $50,000 minus the employer contribution with no testing required. So why did we do this? We did it because we think the distinction between employer and employee contributions can be highly artificial, and because current rules to constrain higher paid workers and their contributions will become less effective as auto-enrollment takes hold. And finally, let's be honest, we know that anything the 401k rules limit can be made up in a non-qualified plan. We also provide for government matching contributions delivered through the tax system for low and moderate income workers that replaces today's ineffective savers credit. We suggest 20% of the first 1,000 or 1%, as in the UK system, of the first 20,000 in wages. And we also reverse some significant current rules. First, we believe it's time to reconsider FICA tax rules. Today, the rule is that employer but not employee contributions are exempt. And we think a good argument can be made to reverse that treatment to give low and moderate income workers the reward for building retirement income in a DC plan that they would enjoy in a DB. And second, we'd lock up all employer and government contributions until retirement, and this reverses the current rule, while allowing workers access to their own savings under limitations similar to those in effect today. So, in summary, the super simple includes all workers. It provides a guaranteed employer contribution for all and a guaranteed government contribution for low and moderate income workers, so the incentives for savings are not just income tax deferrals. The guaranteed contributions are delivered to accounts and reserved for retirement, and this plan also increases retirement assets of short-term employees. It also simplifies plan administration by reducing the complexity of today's 401k plans. Finally, we think it offers a generous incentive to employers to participate. In return for requiring a substantial floor of contribution for lower paid workers, it raises the ceilings on what highly paid employees can contribute. And that should make the qualified plan system the more attractive choice for employers and align the interests of management and workers more closely in the qualified plan universe. And as to taxes,
Yes.
we do think it probably will cost more, but as Michael Krebs said today, anything that's going to be effective is going to cost more, and we can pay now or we can pay later.
Okay, great.